I'm sorry, I didn't find the divine life flower. Yi Fan sat quietly in front of the grave, feeling dejected, whispering to her. The divine life flower is not in this realm at all, it only grows in the immortal realm. In the long river of time, Qin Yao stood at the end of time and space, dressed in white clothes, with a fairy-like aura floating, and said angrily. Yi Fan, search all over the heavens, and I will also kill you. Keywords of the novel. People in the sky, starting from the resurrection of Qin Yao, no pop-ups, people in the sky, starting from the resurrection of Qin Yao, starting from the resurrection of Qin Yao, starting from the beginning of Emperor. Complete collection download of TXT. People in the sky, starting from the resurrection of Qin Yao, starting from the beginning of Emperor. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Men only affect sisters' speed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Men only affect sisters' speed in a beautifully decorated antique room, dim candles flicker from time to time. Pop. Bang. A beautiful woman's jade hands fluttered like a butterfly, touching the palm and fingers of the person opposite her, making a muffled sound. At first, the two of them were also using various secret techniques to confront each other in this narrow area. This match has completely changed its flavor, it's not like anything. This is just a dream, wake up. Wake up. Get up. Consciousness awakens and struggles continuously, but the body is completely unaware and unable to move at all. Wake up, wake up. Finally, her body was able to move and move. Qin Yao opened her eyes fiercely, panting heavily, clutching the bedding with both hands. Her forehead was covered in fine and dense beads of sweat, wetting her hair and making her mouth dry and tongue dry. It's this dream again. Why do you keep dreaming this dream? Who is he? Damn it. After struggling to wake up from her dream, Qin Yao felt powerless and stared blankly at the ceiling. Her eyes were a bit scattered, and the scene in her mind had not completely disappeared. Everything was so real and so unreal. Yao, Yao, what's wrong with you? A gentle voice came from the opposite bed, with words full of concern. This is the Silver Armor Academy located in the Blue Planet Star Empire, with a two-person female dormitory B1303. The girl who just woke up from her dream is called Qin Yao, a level 5 pilot in the aviation department. The other girl's name is Yen Ryu, a level 5 theoretical engineer in the aviation department. It's okay, I had a dream. It's not dawn yet, let's sleep for a while. There's still an exam today. Qin Yao knew that Yen Ryu would always send care when she needed it. Because Yen Ryu's spiritual power is different from that of ordinary people, and also because Qin Yao herself is always prone to some problems. They are a pair of flying partners who have been working together for 3 years without any problems. Okay, then you should also take a break as soon as possible. Listening to Yen Ryu's gradually steady breathing coming from across, Qin Yao no longer had the heart to sleep. She turned her head to look out the window, which was a silver metal world, with countless tall buildings towering like a cold sword piercing into the sky. There are no stars in this world, only a crimson-red moon hanging high in the sky, emitting an eerie light that looks down on all living beings in a bloody and indifferent manner. She took a few deep breaths, trying to sort out the chaotic emotions in her mind, and tried to close her eyes tightly. However, the constantly wriggling eyelids and trembling eyelashes could not calm her chaotic mood. By a sharp bell rang, and the 28-story dormitory building suddenly lit up at 6.30. Qin Yao opened her eyes again, yawned, and struggled to sit up in a state of lethargy. The blood in her eyes was like twisted patterns, with a beautiful and magnificent beauty. She only managed to hold on for a moment before falling back, intending to continue sleeping in her cage. While the sound of water in the bathroom started and stopped, and Yen Ryu pushed the door out. She was dressed in a red and white uniform, with tight fabric and a blazing light. The 4 gilded letters Silver Armor Academy on her left chest were shining and undulating, symbolizing her identity and figure. Her face is like a full moon, her skin is as white as snow, and she has willow eyebrows and starry eyes. Unfortunately, her thick black framed glasses obscure her beautiful radiance. Yao, you haven't woken up yet. Get up quickly, otherwise you'll be late and scolded. Don't blame me for not calling you. Yan Ryu hurriedly urged as she walked towards the bed. I know you're in a hurry, but don't worry yet. Isn't it just an ordinary annual test? With me, a beautiful girl who values both beauty and wisdom, so easy. Qin Yao, who lazily crawled out of bed, jumped out of bed with a bird's nest-like head. The ecological level of this bird's nest is so primitive that even birds will call out their experts when they see it. Qin Yao was wearing a set of pink rabbit pajamas, pulling and kneading the rabbit's tail on the pajamas with one hand, and touching the constantly moving college brand on Yan Ryu's uniform with the other, with malicious intentions. Zayuyu, rabbit is so cute, how can you scare rabbit? Yan Ryu casually pulled out a book from the desk, ready to block it. The green cover of the F-18 Aircraft Driving and Maintenance Fundamentals lecture notes had not yet completed its mission when it flew out of Yan Ryu's palm in a parabolic shape and landed in a neglected corner of the dormitory, in exchange for a slender, white, and tender hand. Yan Ryu closed her eyes as if accepting her fate, knowing that her skills were far inferior to Qin Yao. At the same time, she also knew that the more she resisted, the greater Qin Yao's playfulness would be. So, she gave up decisively and chose to lie flat. However, the usual tactile sensation has not arrived. Surprisingly not resisting, Zayuyu, you have changed and become less adorable than before. Qin Yao pretended to be incredulous and playfully walked into the bathroom, closing the door. At this moment, in the mirror, there was no hint of playfulness on her face. Her purple long hair enveloped her like a dark cloud, exuding a forbidden beauty. She took off her clothes 3 or 2 times, turned on the shower, and the cold water poured down her head. This should wake you up. Wake up. Are you awake? Awakening is the only way to prove that dreams are all fake. Qin Yao. The first person in the flight department of Silver Armor Academy and the most talented pilot in a century, her dream is to travel in space. Man, oh, it will only affect her flying speed. Only women are the best partners in her heart. 10 minutes later, Qin Yao walked out of the bathroom, her purple hair combed into playful double ponytails, with a golden bell tied to each headband, accompanied by a crisp bell sound as she walked. Yao, how did you change your style today? Yan Ryu looked at Qin Yao and sighed. In the past, Qin Yao always wore a neat ponytail, fiery red hair rope, and a blazing eyes. She looked like someone else was asking her for rent for 1.8 million yuan all day. Qin Yao looks a bit delicate today, and as expected, the #1 magic technique in Asia, the head-changing technique, is not deceiving me. Harmful, today is a test for 10,000 people. I have to give those young students the opportunity to see that my beauty and wisdom are equally important, and also give them a lesson. Let them know not to surpass my sister. Beauty and wisdom are equally important, and they can only occupy 2 words. Yan Ryu was immediately aroused to seek knowledge and asked, which 2 words? Seriously ill. Qin Yao said. They are on the 1st floor, and sister is already in the atmosphere, ha ha ha. Yan Ryu choked silently. Qin Yao walked towards the entrance of the dormitory building, holding Yan Ryu's shoulder, while taking out 2 lollipops from somewhere. After licking one of them, she quickly stuffed it into Yan Ryu's mouth. Yan Ryu choked again in silence. Qin Yao blinked cunningly and said, little baby, let them see what real driving skills are. After speaking, in a moment that Yan Ryu didn't notice, Qin Yao's eyes showed a complex expression. Yi Fan, one day I will find you and kill you. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Yi Bufan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Yi Bufan. The sky is already bright, and the golden sunshine is warmly shining on the earth, shining on the faces of everyone in the Silver Armor Academy. Today is the annual flying competition of Injia College, where thousands of students leave their dormitories and gather towards the Cherry Blossom Square located in the center of the college. Silver Armor Academy is the 7th-ranked academy in the Star Empire, which is the 2nd-ranked empire on the Blue Planet. So based on this calculation, if one can achieve a place in this flying competition, it will be a rare opportunity for a person to move from ordinary to noble. Therefore, many people's faces are filled with excited expressions, wishing they could start the competition immediately and reach the pinnacle of their lives. Senior Brother Ming, I heard that your flying skills have reached level 3. Not only can you maintain subsonic turns, but you can also hover briefly, is that true? A linen-haired girl in the crowd looked up at the man next to her. Mangji's face clearly showed flattery, which seemed a bit out of place. The other girls around her not only didn't feel jealous, but also envied that Mangji could stand so close to that person and say those things. The man known as Ming's senior brother is named Wang Jiaming and is a disciple of one of the 3 major aristocratic families in the Star Do Empire. He has a tall and handsome figure, and his own strength is not bad. If it weren't for the fact that his usual lifestyle is not very positive, he wouldn't have come to this college to learn any flying skills. What he wants to learn more in his heart is business skills and management skills, so that he can smoothly inherit the family's foundation in the future. In his opinion, managing those top talents is more fulfilling than becoming top talents themselves. So after he came to the college, he had no interest in anything other than seriously dating his girlfriends. It's not something remarkable, it's just a special understanding of the wind. Wang Jiaming lowered his head and explained gently to the girl. Qin Yao and Yan Ryu happened to pass by here at this moment, hearing what Wang Jiaming was saying, seeing the expression on his face, as well as the casual gaze from the other person. The greed shown in that gaze, although not obvious, was still caught by Yan Ryu. Yan Ryu pulled Qin Yao away quickly and whispered, "Yao, let's walk faster and stay away from that person." Qin Yao shook for a moment, her expression still somewhat unnatural, as if she had not fully recovered from a certain state. "What's wrong with you? You've been restless all day today." Yan Ryu was a little worried. "Did you not sleep well last night? Can you still fly today?" A gentle breeze blew away the bangs on Qin Yao's forehead, seemingly dispelling any worries. Finally, a smile returned to her face. "Zayuyu, what did I say when I went out? Let these rookies see our first genius's flying skills. 30 years in Hedong, who dares to compete with me?" "Ha!" Qin Yao spoke very well, 2 purple ponytails wildly in the wind, just like Yan Ryu's mood at this moment. Otherwise, if Qin Yao kept holding her hand and Yan Ryu wanted to escape immediately, find a place to hide without anyone, at least stay away from Qin Yao, she wouldn't be a normal girl. Upon hearing that Qin Yao had just reported for her freshman year, she piloted a small plane and rushed to the reporting area. Due to unstable braking, she scared and cried the senior sister in charge of picking up new students in her sophomore year. In the following 2.5 years, Qin Yao's roommates in the same dormitory either voluntarily left or begged the class teacher to change shifts. According to those people, instead of changing dormitories, they would rather jump off the 13th floor and greatly increase the reputation of the college. Whether these things are true or false is actually difficult to judge. At least in the 6 months since Yan Ryu moved in, Qin Yao's performance has been very normal. However, Qin Yao always likes to make an excessive request, which is to shower together. This often makes Yan Ryu feel overwhelmed. Everyone is the same. Once, only once, almost succeeded by Qin Yao. Thinking of this, Yan Ryu felt extremely scared. At other times, the two of them got along very well. Because she has no other choice. Whether it's flight testing or official mission, they are partners and must act together. Qin Yao is the chief pilot, and she is the assistant pilot. Qin Yao is the lion's head, and she is the lion's tail. Qin Yao is the sunshine, she is the sunflower. Because she could see that Qin Yao truly needed her. Hey, what are you thinking, my jade? Are you stunned by my domineering side slip? Yes, I rarely have such a wild side. At this time, I should pair it with a passionate war song to highlight my fresh and refined temperament. Qin Yao came over again, her tone becoming more arrogant. She spoke loudly in the direction behind her, dancing and gesturing. Her movements were so loud and her voice was so loud that it suddenly suppressed the buzzing sounds around her. Wang Jiaming's cheeks, which were pressed close to her face, turned red, and the strong breath on her body almost made her fall. It's just that this is a public place, and it's not impossible, it's just not very good. She could only say in a mosquito fly-like voice, Senior Brother Ming, who are you looking at? Why are you a little unhappy? Before Qin Yao's words, Wang Jiaming heard them clearly and thought to himself that even if that strange girl was not targeted at him, he would have taken note of it and would not seek revenge against a gentleman. So, the smile on his face couldn't be held back, but he still tried his best to bloom with a charming side, getting closer to the girl next to him. Nothing. Mangji, did you change your perfume today? It's very unique. No way, it's the natural fragrance of the body. Mangji twisted her waist, her very soft figure truly evoking a desire for pity. The crowd gathered towards the cherry blossom square, becoming more and more dense, and the air seemed to be getting hot and dry. The square is very large, nearly 10 square kilometers, and can accommodate 30,000 people queuing up at the same time. Whether it's organizing some cultural activities or flying exhibitions, it's enough. In the center of the square stands a huge golden cherry blossom sculpture, which is said to have been commissioned by the first dean's wife to distinguish it from the silver flying armor personally designed by the dean. The deeds of the dean and his wife are a legend, and in detail, they cannot be said for 3 days and 3 nights. Simply put, without them, there would be no Silver Armor Academy today. But every time Qin Yao passes by the cherry blossom square and sees this huge cherry blossom, her heart is not filled with admiration and awe, but with the desire to climb to the top of the flower and stand at the center, which can make her feel incredibly happy. Zayuyu, you said this flower is so big that it will cost a lot of money. With so much money, why not improve our fighter jet? Qin Yao gently stroked the green jade ring on her left little finger, which seemed to have a flower pattern on it. It should cost a lot of money, right? Yen Ryu shook her head gently, and this question was not within her usual thinking range. Buzz, a huge roar echoed in the air, and the white clouds in the distant sky were cut open, as if something was about to emerge from inside. Quickly, the appearance of that thing revealed, it was a silver-covered person. With a loud bang, a figure fell from the air, and the square's incredibly hard floor splattered thick smoke and dust. The surrounding students immediately dispersed, creating a hollow space. Huh, my lovely students, how are you? I haven't seen you for a year, have you missed me? This voice is very enthusiastic, no less than the scorching sun in the sky at this moment, and it also has its own reverberation. It only sounds extremely harsh to some people's ears. The smoke and dust quickly dissipated, and the face of the figure slowly appeared. He has sword eyebrows, starry eyes, crane hair, and a childlike appearance. His demeanor is quite extraordinary, but his height is less than 1.5 meters, which is truly regrettable. He is the current dean of Injia College, Yi Bufan. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Dark Anne. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Dark Anne. Seeing the Dean Yi Bufan suddenly appearing in the center of the square, Qin Yao's mind flashed a blurry figure, seemingly familiar, but unable to see the person's face clearly no matter what. She only felt that this person was definitely related to herself. Yi Bufan. Yi Fan. Is it God joking with me? How could the dean come up with such a name? Is it brainless or is it too good? Actually, the subtext she wants to say is he compatible? He doesn't deserve it at all. Only that damn person can call Yi Fan. Everyone named Yi Fan deserves to die. Qin Yao became increasingly angry as she thought, and she wanted to rush over and ask for clarification. She used to know that the dean was very strong, with unparalleled flying skills, and there was no one in the college who could match her. She doesn't know that this person's appearance, especially their height, doesn't match their name at all. The more she thought about it, the more it hurt. Qin Yao lowered her head and took a deep breath, no longer thinking about the relationship between them. Because at this moment, there were various envious voices around her. Wow, despite the fact that Dean is not tall, at the moment he landed, I felt like my DNA had moved. Do you understand? Dean, I love you. You're so handsome. An unnamed girl covered her mouth and shouted loudly. That's right. Putting aside height, the dean's facial features and the male pig feet in romance novels are clearly carved from the same mold. That temperament, demeanor, and aura are even more handsome than a certain five-headed teacher 1,000 years ago. I can't bear it. Another female student responded crazily. The killing power of the handsome white-haired guy is really extraordinary. Under Yen Ryu's black-framed glasses, there was a hint of starlight in her eyes, and a hint of surprise arose in her heart. The dust that had just fallen to the ground by the dean seemed fierce, but there was no threat at all. Even if someone was in the center of the dust, they would definitely not be harmed at all. He has strong control and is truly the top expert in the college. It's just a pity, he's already 35 years old this year, he's really a bit old. That head of white hair looks even older. I really can't help it, I can't love it. Or is it true that only at the age of an uncle can one possess such formidable strength? She felt her unwavering commitment to celibacy begin to shake, and the arguments between her parents at a young age resurfaced like nightmares, unable to be shaken. Damn it, I really want to rush up and repair him. Ask him what this damn name means. But I can't beat him at all, and with so many people watching, I can't even use my exclusive secret technique. Qin Yao clenched her fist, biting her teeth tightly together, wishing she could swallow that person alive. All right, students, please be quiet. The dean has felt your enthusiasm. I am very satisfied. Yi Bufan tiptoed up and raised his hand to signal. This kind of enthusiasm is experienced once a year, becoming more and more passionate. This is a good thing, indicating that these students are indeed feeling pressure from the future. Cough cough, listen to me for a moment. His words just now didn't seem to have a good effect, and many peripheral students didn't even hear his voice. So, this time he added some cough to his voice, added some spiritual power to his cough, and added tremolo. Although there are too many elements, the effect is really much better. Look, many students are starting to cover their ears with extremely painful expressions. Damn it. It's so shocking. This damn subwoofer. Mom, I feel like my heart and liver are about to shake. Dean, please speak up and don't carry any personal belongings. Qin Yao was also shocked and instinctively wanted to cover her ears to alleviate unnecessary eardrum damage, but in just an instant, the pain disappeared. Qin Yao turned her head and saw her friend Yen Ryu's painful expression. She quickly stepped forward to help cover her ears. Double the barrier, it should be useful. Are you feeling better? Is this dean seriously ill? What are you shouting so loudly for? Qin Yao tugged at her throat, trying to alleviate Yen Ryu's pain. I'm much better. Yen Ryu showed a grateful expression, and it was strange that Qin Yao was not affected. How are you? It seems like there hasn't been much reaction from you. Ah. Me. I don't know, I was a bit uncomfortable at first, but now I'm completely better. I know now, I'm a genius. How could I be hurt by such a little trick? Although there was still some buzzing sound, it had already improved a lot, and the students were much quieter. Yi Bufan was very satisfied and began to slowly drift up, truly drifting off the ground. In 2500, technology exploded, and spiritual energy followed suit. The debate over whether technology dominates or cultivation dominates the world has been ongoing. By the year 3000, people no longer focused on the primary and secondary issues of technology in cultivation, but began to focus on improving their personal abilities. Because no matter which road you take, someone has already taken it. If we explain it superficially, it means that it can fly off the ground without the need for an aircraft, let alone piloting a spacecraft. The specific division of realms is quite complex and there is no unified explanation. They are all referred to as superheroes, indicating that even authorities cannot truly govern. Naming this little thing doesn't require any powerful magic. Bufan is such an extraordinary person who can briefly fly off the ground. If he wants to fly off the planet, he needs to use a spaceship. If you want to embark on an interstellar journey, you have to take a space teleportation array. However, these are all rights that a few people can enjoy, because the cost of just one transmission is astronomical. These pieces of information are not secretive, so when Yifan floats up, everyone's reaction is also different. Some were surprised, some remained calm, and some cried. However, overall, there seem to be more people who are surprised. Because seeing is believing, being able to watch a real person fly up close is always more realistic than watching Superman in news and short videos. Dean, you're so cool. I want to give you the latest silver battle armor. The girl above who doesn't want to reveal her name cheered, somewhat like a professional fan. Dean, take me off. I want to tear down the entire college and be the happiest woman. He is actually a boy who always wants to become a true girl. Wang Jeming's Mangji beside her was also a bit restless, but she was very clear that some thoughts could not be distorted or revealed. If one's heart is lofty, it is easy to fall to death. However, Wang Jeming didn't care at all. The dean only flew so high, and in the field of cultivation, it could only be considered climbing clouds. Qin Yao and Yen Ryu were also surprised at first. After all, they needed to be shocked and they saw the live-action version of the superhero. Do you think I should give up practicing flying skills and go buy some magic potions to become a true superhero? Qin Yao was moved. Every time she saw a real person flying or jumping off a building, she would be moved, and her friends would also say the same thing every time, showing kindness. Relying on medication to surpass others, one can only become the lowest level of transcendence. Only with knowledge and skills can one have a broader future. But now I really want to fly like him. Qin Yao pouted, looking very unwilling. The commotion quickly subsided, as the dean flew a bit high. Everyone leaned their necks and tried to observe, while others wanted to hear what the dean was going to say next. Hey, classmates. Today, I won't say much more nonsense. Bufan opened his mouth and shouted loudly at the top of his throat. This time I really flew a bit too high, beyond my previous controllable range. Buzz, it's all nonsense, isn't it more? Someone murmured roast. Now, I announce that the flying competition is starting. The finish line is the sun above you. Buzz, another inexplicable restlessness. Are you joking? If we can fly to the sun, do we still need to learn how to fly here? That's it. The first expert of the empire, Hua Yunfei, and the second expert of the empire, Li Feiyu, they can't do it. Dean, we worship you, but we're not stupid. This is simply possible. Everyone is complaining about this impossible task. Quiet. Listen to me. Bufan drifted up several tens of meters again, his voice a bit hoarse. I'm talking about the sun 10,000 kilometers away, the space station. He tried hard to control his body shape and wipe away sweat. He wiped away sweat because he was a little guilty and almost released the wrong task because of his mouth. If everyone fails, his face will not look good. If the deans of other imperial colleges find out, it is also easy to be laughed at by them. Alright, the competition is starting. But no one gave a single word. The students below who look like little ants are actually indifferent to the slogans they issued, which is not scientific. He quickly realized that it was too high and the students couldn't hear him. He quickly pulled out a silver whistle. By high-frequency vibration, combined with spiritual power, can transmit sound for 3 kilometers. A clear whistle came from the sky, and without waiting for a second sound, everyone in the square immediately took action. Brothers, hurry up. One step faster, one step closer to victory. Someone rolled their wrist and a mini-plane appeared in their palm, with a design similar to that of a 1,000-year-old fighter jet. But what's different is that the cockpit of the plane emits a white halo, enveloping the young man. The head shows a circular transparent helmet, and 2 wings are actually circled along the arms. The lower body is also surrounded by the same colored halo, which looks a bit like the tail of a bird. He turned into a humanoid flying machine. With a whoosh, the person flew out like a bird, bravely flying towards the sky. I'm the first. I'm finally one step ahead. The voice was filled with a joyful taste. Hey, wait for me, I haven't gone up yet. A girl with curly hair on the ground shouted anxiously, waving her arm non-stop, but the other person couldn't even hear her. This idiot actually left his wingman behind. He's dead. A short-skinned boy with a face full of flesh burst out laughing, patting his companion beside him while laughing. Every time he pats, his companion's shoulder collapses halfway. Brothers, let's go up and shoot him down. Someone suggested with a gloomy tone. Qin Yao and Yen Ryu seemed to be in no hurry and did not react at all. The latter even called up the electronic screen, constantly flipping through something. Aren't we leaving yet? Qin Yao asked. Don't worry, wait for me to calculate the nearest route. Yen Ryu's movements were fast, and others couldn't even see how she calculated it. The various interfaces on the screen flicker rapidly, like high-speed checkpoints in short videos, with a special sense of beauty. If you look closely, some of the images are actually confidential information. 28 seconds later, Yen Ryu gave the result. Got it. Let's fly 3,000 kilometers southeast at 38 degrees, then straight up 2,000 kilometers, then northwest at 62 degrees, then straight up, then turn again, and... Stop. What are you talking about? I can't understand you at all. Let's just fly and talk on the way. After speaking, Qin Yao also pulled out her own aircraft. A 10-meter-long pink light-shaped airship covered them, with a real wood steering wheel, leather seats, a simulation console, and even seat belts. An aircraft surprisingly appears so specific. The pattern painted on the airship is not very beautiful, it is actually a one-eyed pirate. The pirate held a machete in his hand and looked like he was looking down on the world, which was a bit resentful. The route you designed is too complicated, we still follow the old rules. God blocks kill God, Buddha blocks kill Buddha. Charge, Dark Annie. Qin Yao waved her hand as if she was really holding a knife. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Tear it up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Tear it up. After Qin Yao piloted the Dark Annie airship and slowly took off, the sky was already filled with various shapes of aircraft, including single humanoid and helicopter shapes, which were considered normal styles, at least like a species that could fly. There are also some centipede-shaped, squid-shaped, dog-shaped, and even jellyfish and goldfish-shaped, all sorts of strange and chaotic. Bufan, who was slowly falling, watched the students piloting their ingenious aircraft. Although it was not the first time he had seen them, the corners of his eyes couldn't help but tremble a few times. These children are really worried. It seems like it's time for me to have a deep conversation with the teachers in charge of design classes. When he saw a pink hot air balloon flying past him, he was already calm and didn't pay any attention. Because the driver is equivalent to being in an isolation cabin, the seemingly ordinary light shield not only provides the necessary oxygen for high-altitude breathing, but also to some extent isolates the transmission of sound. At this moment, while driving, Qin Yao kept muttering incessantly, "You, hurry up. We are all so far behind. If we don't accelerate a bit, how can we make it to first place?" I can't blame her for being a bit anxious. Their departure time was almost a minute slower than many classmates, and their driving speed was intentionally controlled by Yen Ryu at a speed of 30 km per hour. Because she is still a bit dissatisfied with Qin Yao not adopting the route she designed. It used to be different. Every time she went on a mission or went shopping, the route she provided always gained Qin Yao's full trust. "Yao, there's nothing wrong with you today. Is there something hidden from me? Why don't you listen to me and insist on charging forward in an offensive way?" Yen Ryu finally asked her innermost doubts. From last night when Qin Yao woke up from a dream, to changing her appearance in the morning, and then to wandering aimlessly all the way. These signs all indicate that today's Qin Yao is not at all normal. She always felt that Qin Yao was keeping something from her. As a good friend, she didn't understand this matter and didn't know what kind of trouble would happen in the upcoming flying competition. We've been together for so long, don't you know me?" Qin Yao drove hard, specifically looking for those flying machines blocking her in front, attempting to collide with them with a fierce and extreme momentum, while having to occasionally turn back and explain to Yen Ryu. Yes, she does have some worries that she cannot share with her friends. She doesn't want to tell anyone about this matter for the time being. The fans darkened slowly drifted upwards, flying at a speed that was too slow, almost becoming a bottom-dwelling existence. There are very few students on the ground who have not yet taken off, visible to the naked eye. "Senior Brother Ming, why haven't you started yet?" Everyone has been setting off for a long time, and they still want to see Senior Brother Ming demonstrate his strength and defeat everyone to win first place. Manji tightly hugged Wang Jiming's arm and asked softly. At this moment, the ground is open, so she no longer maintains her reserved and shy demeanor, wishing she could hang it directly on Wang Jiming's body. As long as you hold on to this man tightly, the days ahead will only be infinitely sweet. Especially once Senior Ming returns to his family after completing his studies, as his only legitimate girlfriend, she will surely be able to leap into the realm of luxury and become the enviable aristocratic lady. What else are you learning and flying? Wang Jiming felt that time was indeed almost over, so he patted his small, white and tender hand crossing his arm and said coldly, "Let's go." After speaking, he flipped his palm and saw a black crocodile-shaped aircraft emerge, instantly transforming into a 30-meter-long giant crocodile. The surface emitted a light like black paint, calm and dark, exquisite and cold, looking very impressive. Bang! The black crocodile took Wang Jiming in one gulp, gently flicked its huge tail, and pulled its short and thick limbs a few times, rushing up into the sky at an astonishing speed. Manji was sprayed with a mouthful of dust, like a beard growing out of thin air, destroying her beautiful face. But she didn't erase it immediately, her wide-open eyes symbolized her surprised mood at the moment. Did Senior Brother Ming leave on his own? Her eyes were slightly moist, with an incredulous look in her eyes. Then she shouted loudly, as if her lover was sad when he left without returning. "Senior Brother Ming, don't leave me alone. Why are you so cruel?" Woo-woo! The shouting was loud, especially in the open square, and a few scattered students who had not yet taken off due to various reasons looked over, their faces full of confusion. "That girl seems to be Manji, right? I heard she caught Wang Mingjia. Why was she dumped at this time? Who knows? Maybe the business level was too poor and I was abandoned." He. After hearing this, Manji felt indignant in her heart, but there was no way to refute it, and the fact lay before her eyes. She wiped away her tears, gritted her teeth, and cursed, "You're so good, Wang. How dare you leave me alone and run away? I wish you a speedy ascension to heaven, not a bad death, dog man." After speaking, she twisted her waist and walked away, ignoring any embarrassing speculations made by others. After seeing it, Bufan, who had just landed, deliberately called out to the girl. In the end, he didn't say anything, but instead came to the side of the cherry blossom sculpture and sat quietly. What he needs to do is to take control of the overall situation. Qin Yao is still arguing with Yan Ryu at this moment, hoping to speed up and catch up with a group of classmates who have already flown far away. But today Yan Ryu is a bit too stubborn. No matter how Qin Yao explains, she just doesn't listen. Their aircraft belongs to a two-person ride mode. Although Qin Yao controls most of the driving permissions, there are still some functions that require the cooperation of Yan Ryu. For example, speeding up, such as route planning. Of course, she also has a way to fully control this aircraft. If it can be agreed upon, it is certainly good, but if it cannot be agreed upon, you can also eat the twisted melon. Woo woo woo, the intense sound of breaking the wind came from below, and upon hearing it, it was a big guy with extremely fast speed. Qin Yao, who had many years of flying experience, immediately became alert. The regular rules of a flying competition are that everyone flies separately, does not disturb each other, and reaches the finish line within the specified time limit, which is considered as winning the competition. However, it cannot be ruled out that various intentional collisions caused by human factors occur every year. Especially in the final crucial stage. This kind of thing is also tacitly accepted by the college. Because there will be no casualties. The level of safety in the competition, under the high-tech monitoring of the college, is similar to that of Cabin in terms of transparency. The college cannot put students in a life or death crisis just because of a skills competition. Unless there are special circumstances. For example, now. A black crocodile was charging towards the dark end with a majestic momentum and full power, which was quite dangerous at first glance. At most, there were 30 seconds left before it could complete a frontal collision. Qin Yao noticed this situation while operating the instrument panel and immediately pressed the red button below to activate emergency driving mode. This mode is specifically designed to deal with various dangerous situations, and as the co-pilot, Yan Ryu will completely lose her auxiliary driving role in the aircraft. This is also the method that Qin Yao planned to use before. The dark end shook violently, emitting a fierce blue light from its tail, and energy instantly accumulated to its peak. Its speed soared to 300 km per hour, like a bullet flying up, distancing itself from the aircraft behind. However, the danger has not been lifted. Qin Yao's face was solemn, changing her previous pleading expression. She tightly grasped the steering wheel with a smile on her lips, her eyes sharp, and she transformed into a female fighter. Yan Ryu, who was originally not in a high mood in the back row, was startled and almost shouted out. "You, be careful. Someone wants to bump into us." Qin Yao quickly explained. "Wang Jiaming. When did we offend him?" Yan Ryu turned around and recognized the person's identity. "Is he crazy? What exactly does he want to do?" "He's crazy or not, I don't know. He wants to bump into us, but it's true." Qin Yao replied. "I've never provoked him. But since he dares to provoke me, he's dead. You sit still. It's time for him to see Anne's true face." After Qin Yao finished speaking, her fingers operated on the operation interface, and the flipping fingers seemed like elves jumping and dancing. The airship immediately stopped and hovered directly in the air. Then, the body of the airship began to twist, with arms and torso growing out, and its body height also rising to 20 meters, looking like a person. What's different is that Anne seems to be wearing a hat on her head, with a brim around her and a pink tassel hanging from her face, flipping upwards. Its arms began to stretch and elongate, and in the end, a 10-meter sword appeared. The knife is long, sharp, and emits a deep red light, like a bloodthirsty demon, with an aura no less powerful than the giant crocodile below. Annie stood quietly in the air with a long knife in her hand, which was exactly the same as the pirate pattern printed on the airship before. "Pirate Annie, tear up the stinky fish below me." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Cracking. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 5. Cracking. Wang Jiming sat upright in the mouth of the giant crocodile, his eyes filled with strong gloom, and his head fluttered gently in the center. He finally found an opportunity to repay the humiliation of the past. In his freshman year, on the eve of the annual flying competition, his father Wang Gongjing called, and he still remembers every word and sentence of the content clearly to this day. Jiming, this is a very good opportunity for me to help you secure a place to study at Injia College. You must seize it and showcase your talents. I am a commoner, and you are also a commoner. We father and son must have one heart, and the Wang family will definitely belong to us. Although the father did not explain the key reason or what was strange about the school, he could hear the meaning behind his words. If he can't make a name for himself, he may suffer a lot. So the annual flying competition held by the college is an opportunity. Especially in the first year, make sure to start well. Anyone with some ideas will not miss this rare opportunity. Unexpectedly, that time he was about to break into the top 100, but was suddenly caught up in a rear end by someone. In just one breath, he was shot down by someone, completely losing the chance to make it to the top. That person not only shot him down, but also shot down the remaining 99 people, directly winning first place. In the second year, that person still ranked first. She is Qin Yao. A damn and despicable woman. If winning the championship in this way is also considered a championship, then I can too. Since the last disastrous defeat, Wang Jiming has been secretly preparing for it for 3 years, which is also his father's last chance. Jiming, your elder brother has won the championship at Qin Yao Academy for 3 consecutive years. That's the 6th most powerful academy in the empire. Look at you again, have you forgotten your identity? You're a bastard. Although my father didn't say anything else, these alone are enough. Even to ensure that he could win the competition, his father spent a lot of money from his family's pilgrimage to buy this highly lethal aircraft, the Devil Crocodile. When Wang Jiming first received the Devil's Crocodile, he did not act recklessly. When he was out shopping, he took his newly made girlfriend to a secluded corner and they chatted together, deliberately making the noise loud. Sure enough, within 5 minutes, 7 or 8 burly thugs arrived upon hearing the wind, each possessing impressive combat power. Kid, it's better to be happy alone than to be happy together. How many flowers can I borrow from you? A yellow-haired young man, who seemed to be the leader, shook his legs and grinned, tilting his neck and chuckling. The girl named Wu behind Wang Jiming turned pale and her legs became even softer when she saw this formation. She tightly grabbed Wang Jiming's sleeve and said in horror, "Brother Ming, you must protect me. I don't want to be taken away by them." "Don't worry, I'm here, it's okay." Wang Jiming straightened his waist and said with certainty. Then, he turned over and took a big step to the side, making a gesture of invitation to the thugs on the opposite side. "Please do as you please." "Ah. Brother Ming, how could you do this?" Wu Wan collapsed on the ground. She used to think she wasn't stupid at all, was very accurate in judging people, and had excellent fishing skills. "I never expected that I wouldn't be able to swim this time." Wang Jiming turned around and left quickly, without any hesitation. The thugs then rushed forward, and Wu Wan's struggles and screams echoed through the sky. "Animal, let go of me." These thugs who were enjoying themselves for a while didn't notice that a black giant crocodile had formed above their heads and fell with a loud bang, swallowing everyone in one gulp. The devil crocodile deftly hiccuped and spat out a pink piece of close-fitting clothing, then transformed into a small flying machine and disappeared into Wang Jiming's hand. "Wu Wan, don't blame me. I just want to test the true combat power of this devil crocodile. Because my father told me it's not just a flying machine." At this moment, Wang Jiming sat in the mouth of the devil crocodile, staring up as if he had been influenced by the devil crocodile for a long time, and his heart was filled with a strong killing intent. He wants to kill Qin Yao immediately and now. And all the stumbling blocks blocking his path to success should be wiped out. Qin Yao, today is your deadline. Wang Jiming transmitted his voice to Qin Yao's cockpit through a special frequency. Upon hearing this, Yan Ryu immediately felt that something was not good. The other party's hatred was so great, and such unreasonable people were the most deadly. She grabbed Qin Yao's hand and said urgently, "Yao, what should we do? He really wants to kill us." "It's okay, do you remember what I said when we set off today? God blocking, killing God. It's just a stinky fish." Qin Yao seemed full of confidence, completely ignoring each other. Yan Ryu lightly tapped her glasses, wanting to see the opponent's strength clearly. Since avoidance is unavoidable, even if you want to fight, you must first see the opponent's strength. Her glasses have a special ability to not only cure myopia, but also survey people and objects of the same level, making them an essential tool for adventure and treasure hunting. But at this moment, she couldn't see the true strength of the devil crocodile at all. It is now 3023, and in terms of overall strength, anyone who can fly above the ground is considered extraordinary. However, the reality is that even superhumans can be classified into 3, 6, or 9 levels due to differences in abilities. Below the extraordinary third order, it is called early transcendence. The fourth to sixth order is the Chinese Super League. 7 to 9 levels are considered advanced, 10 levels or above are considered gods. The corresponding technological realm is divided into low martial arts, high martial arts, and immortal martial arts. Whenever I mention this, I can feel the malice between the two schools of thought. It's really a smile on the surface, but a heart-wrenching. So when a person chooses a category and faces another faction, even if they don't say anything on the surface, there must be countless dirty thoughts hidden behind their backs. The people of the Silver Armor Academy are aware of these, and the entire empire is also aware of them, including those newly born children who have been exposed to them since childhood. Yan Ryu's glasses belong to the technology category of the low martial 3 heavens, which can discern people and objects of the same level. Since the level of the devil crocodile is not visible, it indicates that the opponent's level is higher than the extraordinary third level. "Yao, be careful, the other party is a high martial arts expert." She quickly told her friend the result of her speculation. "Wang Jiming, the academy prohibits killing. If you bring out such a powerful attack aircraft, are you not afraid of being pursued by the academy?" Yan Ryu questioned the other party. "Investigating. Is it scary?" When the investigation team asks, I will say it was an accidental collision, the aircraft lost control, and it was not caused intentionally by me. How do you think the credibility of these reasons is? Wang Jiming spread out his hand, showing no fear. "You, don't nag him." Qin Yao didn't want to continue waiting. If words alone can persuade the enemy, what fighting skills should we learn? "Annie, kill him." After receiving the order, the huge pirate immediately clenched her long sword in both hands, slowly lifted it up, exerted force on her arms, and fiercely swung towards the crocodile below. The blade roared and cut through the nearby clouds, creating a clear and visible blank area. At this time, there were very few flying machines near them, only a few small flying objects. So although N's blow was fierce enough just now, its killing power was far from sufficient. "Is that all?" Wang Jiming smiled and lowered his head to examine his entire body, without any damage. "Why don't you scratch me again? With your current strength, you don't deserve to be the number one. Come on, use your maximum strength and hit me hard. Otherwise, you might die. Don't blame them for not giving you a chance, Wang Jiming laughed heartily, and the feeling of victory in sight was indeed satisfying. Is this the feeling of a strong person? Pup, another knife fell down. How despicable, as you wish. Qin Yao's face was disdainful and her mouth was fragrant. The devil crocodile opened its mouth wide and bit the big knife in N's hand, making it unable to sink half a minute. Wang Jiming, who lived in it, felt no pain and was also a perfect and harmless person. Huh, Qin Yao, are you all that strong? Didn't you eat? Wang Jiming laughed and twisted his body from side to side, his voice suddenly becoming hoarse, like a duck being choked. Goo, devil crocodile, it's cracked open. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Notification. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Notification. We are going through the signing process and are starting to resume updates. Pen refills, end of this chapter. Chapter 7. Deep Sisters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Deep Sisters. The devil crocodile cracked open without any pain or warning, and Wang Jiming's smile at the corner of his mouth had not even fully opened. How could it be? He was shocked and couldn't believe that such a strange thing would happen, which was beyond his normal understanding. Are you a skilled Chinese Super League player? Wang Jiming asked, with blood oozing from the corners of his mouth. Qin Yao was also taken aback when she saw this scene. Although her pirate version of N was powerful, it was only an extraordinary third-level early super rank. Compared to Wang Jiming's devil crocodile, if calculated solely based on strength, it was still more than half a point behind. Her original idea was to use fast-breaking and random knives to kill the teacher. The devil crocodile has a large body size and does not have an advantage in speed. She has the power to fight. Your eyesight is good. Did you see clearly what was going on just now? Qin Yao turned her head and asked Yan Ryu. Ah. I was completely stunned just now. I'm not the usual calm person, I can't think or observe at all. Sorry, Yao, I didn't make any difference. This is a fact. Yan Ryu's apology was also very sincere, and Qin Yao had no choice but to give up. Now that the outcome has been decided, she is the victorious side and there is no need to explain everything to the weak. Only those villains like Deeser and often end up dying from talking too much. Qin Yao has read countless novels on this point, and such tricks can be seen everywhere. Wang Jiming may feel unwilling, but he can only feel unwilling. The protective mask of the devil crocodile gradually failed, and after the cold and murderous aura dissipated, Wang Jiming's expression was revealed. That's really an indescribable appearance. Qin Yao, I'm not willing to accept it. How can you get everything you want with ease? Just because you're the legitimate heir. Qin Yao frowned slightly and didn't want to pay attention to the other party. It was just an ordinary flying competition and wouldn't kill anyone. Let's go, you. After this guy lands, someone will naturally be responsible for receiving him. We don't have to worry about him. Speaking, Qin Yao restored the pirate version of An to the airship version and continued to fly up with Yan Ryu, with a significantly faster speed than before. At this moment, Wang Jiming's heart was like ashes and his face was as pale as earth. He couldn't understand why fate was so cruel to him. As time passed, he was about to land, and Bufan, sitting quietly under the cherry blossom sculpture, had long noticed the scene happening in the sky. Everything is under his control, and there is no problem with that. When he saw that Wang Jiming was about to fall nearby, he opened his eyes, smiled at the corner of his mouth, and prepared to take this unlucky person and hand it over to the female teachers responsible for psychological counseling. There was usually nothing else to do. However, without any unexpected circumstances, there was still an accident. Wang Jiming's injury suddenly worsened, and the blood vomited from his mouth changed from bright red to purple-black, emitting a strong foul odor. Breaking away from life. Bufan immediately rushed over upon discovering it. Medical team teacher, hurry to the square to support. A student has been poisoned. A few figures immediately appeared in the cool and shady area not far away, all dressed in white clothes. The floating shape of the white clothes gave people an extraordinary feeling and demeanor. The way they carried stretchers and ran like angels falling from the sky. Dean, we're here, the leader Zhang Mei quickly said. Her temperament is the most outstanding among the four, to the extent that Bufan feels familiar with her every time he sees her, but the relationship between the two is just a simple hierarchy. Leader Zhang, please lead someone to check the injury of this student and make sure to cure him. Yes, Dean, you can rest assured. Zhu Ming-san, we can cure it. Zhang Mei is very confident because she is an extraordinary 4th-level medical practitioner who has experienced dozens of battles, big and small. Not to mention being just a poisoned wounded person, even in large-scale surgical procedures, she can bring a severed limb back to life. After Zhang Mei led someone to take away Wang Jiaming, who was already unconscious, Yi Bufan frowned deeply, feeling as if things were moving in an uncontrollable direction. He looked up at the sky, and the students inside the densely packed flying machines carried the youth and future of the college, so nothing should happen. After just a small setback, Qin Yao and Yan Ryu slowly regained their composure. After all, they were not the first to participate, especially Qin Yao. Previously, she was the only one who bullied others, but now it's the first time someone has taken the initiative to find fault. She hasn't adjusted her mentality yet, and she doesn't know what kind of thunderous means she should use to make these people completely understand the difficulties and retreat the next time the same thing happens. Many times, will battles are the most terrifying, and she doesn't have the ability to crush the entire battlefield yet. I think your previous route design might have been the right choice. Is it still possible to switch now? Qin Yao's tone weakened slightly and her attitude became more gentle, which surprised Yan Ryu. She is very clear about how confident and domineering her roommate is usually. As long as those male classmates show their desire to get close to her, she only needs a glance to make those people deeply feel what junais and hidden knives are. Qin Yao's appearance and figure are both top-notch, ranking among the top in the entire college, and even becoming the school's flower at one point. Under such favorable conditions, it has been 3 years and Qin Yao still hasn't had a boyfriend, not even a rumor. In addition to the above reasons, some good people even spread rumors that Qin Yao does not like men with malicious language. Every time she heard these things, Qin Yao didn't care at all. She even hugged Yan Ryu and giggled, saying that they were right. The more they said that, the less opportunities she gave. This kind of distortion is not something Yan Ryu can understand, and this kind of gossip news is not something she can get. At the age of 19, she was considered beautiful in her youth, but Yan Ryu, relying on her strength, turned herself into a small transparent figure that everyone ignored. Together with Qin Yao, she became a lone twin star and remains single to this day. So those rumors may not really be groundless, but it's very difficult to prove this. As long as the parties do not acknowledge it, no one can directly confirm. Yao, are you sure we need to change lanes? Our situation is still good, we are only 10 kilometers away from our next opponent. Change the line. Those people up there are all little brats, not worth my effort. And I also want to confirm if and was secretly tampered with. Let's find an absolutely quiet place. Yan Ryu no longer argued. She recalled the flight route planned before the operation, and with Qin Yao's reauthorization, they changed direction and headed towards another open place. Their speed was very fast, and the airship, like a fighter jet, pushed through the clouds and plunged in, blocking everyone out. The clouds here are really thick, like a newly made quilt, looking warm, but the airship only flew in for 2 minutes, and the clouds seemed to be stained with ink, suddenly turning black. A crimson lightning suddenly flashed out for no reason, tearing through the thick dark clouds. The loud noise sounded like thunder in Qin Yao's ear, and the energy mask of the third-level airship could not completely isolate this super loud noise. Qin Yao looked at the figure slowly emerging from the lightning like dragon walking ahead, pursed her lips, exhaled deeply, and said with a hint of sadness. Why are you doing this to me? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Entrusted by others. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Entrusted by others. Qin Yao's voice was very cold, even colder than the ice and snow in June. At this moment, in such a cramped driving space, it was impossible for Yan Ryu to pretend not to hear. Yen Ryu's face was very white, so pale that there was no trace of blood. Perhaps it was due to the intimidating power of lightning outside, or perhaps for other reasons. She smiled and said, "Yao, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand? Really? Am I overthinking it?" Qin Yao didn't look back, as if speaking on her own. "Do you want me to analyze it for you? Do you have to tear your face?" Every time Qin Yao said a word, the face behind her was as pale as jade. "I really don't know what you're talking about, Yao. Have you been having too many nightmares lately and thinking too much? Oh, are you stubborn? Why did I have nightmares? Don't you know in your heart?" Qin Yao remained calm. "You gave me the Juman pillow, and you also gave me the soul summoning flower. Do you want me to continue talking about anything else?" Yen Ryu remained completely silent. She lowered her head, not knowing what she was thinking, perhaps thinking about reasons to defend herself. "You're not Yen Ryu at all." Qin Yao struck a decisive note and revealed her final trump card. It also completely defeated Yen Ryu's last persistence. "Hee, of course I am Yen Ryu, I have always been Yen Ryu." Yen Ryu raised her head, her glasses casually discarded, revealing a pair of red eyes that seemed to have been burned. "I am Yen Ryu. You can see clearly that I am the stupid and ugly girl you laughed at when you started school." Upon hearing these words, Qin Yao's eyebrows furrowed even tighter, like a twisted word. She carefully recalled the little things that happened on the day of enrollment. "At that time, I received my first flying machine in my life, which was a reward from my father. I was admitted to the flying department of the Silver Armor Academy, and it was worth this reward. She has shown exceptional flying talent since childhood. She has always dreamed of owning her own flying machine, but her father always smiles and says, 'Wait, wait, wait.'" When this day arrived, Qin Yao flew into the sky, leaving her father nowhere to be seen. She came to the college alone to report, but there were too many people. The group in front of her couldn't make any moves, so she collided with them. To be precise, it was a collision with a group of people, and there seemed to be a teacher among them. Anyway, she ran away after the collision and didn't care so much. In her opinion, as long as she runs fast, the responsibility cannot be traced back to herself. It just seems like she still made some personal attacks, maybe not at all. "Do you remember? Do you remember me?" Yen Ryu felt guilty when she saw Qin Yao not speaking. "You never thought of me at all. Am I still so humble in your eyes?" Yen Ryu began to go crazy. The creator of this nightmare that had troubled her for 3 years was completely unaware. "You crashed into Teacher Chow, and I was right beside her at the time. She had nowhere to vent her anger, so she vented it on me. You know what? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been scolded like this by her, and the rest wouldn't have been scolded along. It's all your fault." Yen Ryu roared loudly, her facial muscles clearly visible, and her nails buckled into the seat. Now Qin Yao fully understood, but she didn't quite understand. "Is this really that important? It has been so long. Are you sure that just because of this, you hold grudges against me for 3 years? Qin Yao felt incredulous. Especially when the person outside is quietly watching them, the pressure is not average. Qin Yao wanted to pilot the An to escape, but found that the airship had completely malfunctioned, which must be related to the harsh weather outside. I don't think this is a big deal. We can have a good discussion. Can we solve this ourselves? Yen Ryu smiled and said, "Are you afraid? Don't be afraid. He wasn't brought by me, I don't have that much energy. Heart tired. Whatever you want, I can't leave now anyway." Qin Yao remembered a sentence. "There is nothing difficult in the world, as long as you are willing to give up. No more resistance." At this moment, a godlike man floating freely in the air outside came to them as if watching a play. He patted the mask and showed a gentle smile, blowing into the cockpit like a spring breeze, but it scared Qin Yao and the others out of a cold sweat. "Two girls, have you misunderstood something? Shouldn't you ask me about my background before you suspect me?" The man, dressed in ancient costume and floating in white, swung out a paper fan and gently danced. "I am Hua Yunfei, the first young generation of the Star Empire. I wonder if you two girls have heard of me. Those who can fly in the air are truly divine beings who have already become divine beings. In this world full of mecha and steampunk, divine beings do exist. They can summon wind and rain, escape from heaven and earth, and even fall in love with mortals. Their descendants are superior from the moment of birth, with almost half the chance of becoming gods. And the legend of Hua Yunfei in front of me is that he came from a semi-divine background and successfully became a god at the age of only 25, becoming the first expert of the young generation in the empire and the dream lover of countless girls. Qin Yao is not one of those countless mentally disabled girls. She has no interest in men, nor is she interested in the reasons why he came here. Miss Qin, I came here specifically for you." Hua Yunfei reached out a hand, flawless and spotless, as if possessing magic, making it irresistible to want to hold it together. Pop. Qin Yao slapped herself with a backhand and opened her own hand, as well as Yan Ryu's hand. This matter is eerie and definitely not simple. You can't go with him. Are you hiding here just to wait for me? Hide. Hua Yunfei smiled and pointed to the lightning and thunder behind him. Are you talking about these things? He lightly patted the fan, and the wild lightning suddenly extinguished. The dark clouds were like lifeless fish, no longer stirring. He snapped his fingers, and everything in the sky returned to its previous disorderly frenzy. Look, this is the power of magic. Yan Ryu was already stunned and didn't know how to understand this divine power, especially since she had already activated her extraordinary vision. She could see some things more clearly. The clouds and rain in the sky have just experienced dispersion and aggregation, and the invisible molecular movements entangle around Hua Yunfei's fingertips, being played with by him recklessly. Do you want to learn, Miss Qin? Hua Yunfei continued, his tone too friendly. Yan Ryu is eager to try, she wants to learn. Once one learns this great power, who in the Silver Armor Academy dares to be no match for themselves, who dares to ignore themselves, or even insult themselves? It's just that since Hua Yunfei appeared, he never even glanced at her from beginning to end, which is the true cruelty. Why did you choose me? Qin Yao never believed that pie would fall from the sky. On someone's behalf. Since we have signed the contract, let's write it carefully. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Shattered Mouth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Shattered Mouth, Entrusted by Others. Qin Yao seemed to have misunderstood. Who could make the youngest expert in the empire, Hua Yunfei, come to find him? It had to be a certain level of character. Who asked you to come find me? Can you tell me? Qin Yao still wanted to try to inquire. As long as you come with me, you naturally know who that person is. Hua Yunfei continued to answer with a smile. He has a delicate face and looks very calm, with a faint sense of elegance towards the things around him. In his opinion, his ability to turn things around is just a matter of hand. Especially when facing the girl in front of him who was very indecisive, even though he didn't understand why his master was far away for many eras and left him with this seemingly effortless protection task. He is Hua Yunfei, inherited from the ruthless emperor, without the name of a master and disciple, but with the essence of a master and disciple. Especially with his heavenly swallowing demon technique, once mastered to perfection, how difficult is it to destroy the heavens and the earth? Any saint or goddess is just a handful of yellow earth, only the Tao is the ultimate goal of life. The journey of cultivation was so urgent, but the master still allowed him to come to this realm and attract the people in front of him. He was naturally curious about what was unique about this woman, and after observing for 3 years, he found nothing. If it weren't for her being ambushed this time and not showing her martial arts skills, he wouldn't even want to appear. To be honest, he is the one who has not played a role. When he appears in his true form, the surrounding climate changes greatly, making it very easy for the so-called gods in this realm to notice. He descended here, his realm was limited by heaven and earth, and his abilities were only at the level of a god, unable to traverse the world at all. Even some people have noticed him and brought him considerable pressure. While Hua Yunfei was lost in thought, the other side finally gave a response. Okay, I'll come with you. Qin Yao gritted her teeth and agreed. Yan Ryu also wants to go with them. But she couldn't open this mouth. The previous flip was still hot, and now she doesn't have the face to make such excessive demands. However, she also understood that this was a huge opportunity. Immortals are not common, missing them will only lead to being immortal. Where are you going? Can you take me with you? She could only ask with such a simple and insightful question. All the things in the past are still in the past. Upon hearing these words, Qin Yao thought for a moment, her eyes inexplicably firm, and she said to Hua Yunfei, if you want to leave, you can do it. You must take the two of us. Why? Hua Yunfei suddenly showed a hint of interest, and the scene of their argument just now still vividly remembered. Don't worry about the girl's affairs. Just ask if you bring it or not. Qin Yao thought it over. She felt that the guy across from her seemed to care about her and respect her wishes, and there was no malice at all. If her feelings are not wrong. However, Hua Yunfei pretended to be sophisticated and didn't say anything. He just kept shaking his fan and the three of them completely disappeared from here. Qin Yao felt a bit dizzy, and before she could react, she felt her body tighten as if she had been entangled in something dirty. Suddenly, she arrived at a new place. That's right, this is a new place, not a new world. She looked carefully. It was a slightly luxurious big bedroom. Outside was the blue sea. The smell of the salty sea could be passed from the crack of the door. It was more beautiful under the reflection of the huge French window. Especially now, it is the setting sun shining diagonally, and the blood-red sunset is sinking, carrying a burning heat that begins to sink. The whole world begins to move towards pitch black and cold. Strangely, Yan Ryu was not by her side. She remembered that they should have come together. Dong dong dong, someone knocked on the door. It was Hua Yunfei. Qin Yao had just seen it from the side light of the glass window, but she didn't have the heart to pay attention to him. Because she thought this guy was a bit naughty, she just clung there and played with his hair. Her right index finger wrapped around the hair, and her left index finger continued to wrap around it. He had already wrapped his black and straight hair into small curls. Yes, I forgot to introduce Hua Yunfei's hairstyle in the previous text. He was a tall and handsome boy, but he actually had long hair and pulled it very straight. So this is the most disgusting thing about Qin Yao. She can't stand men having long hair, getting tangled and tangled. Because in that very eerie dream, the man also had such beautiful hair, and under the premise of not being able to see her face clearly, that hairstyle left an indelible memory of harm for her. Come in, Hua Yunfei. Honestly, what is your true purpose? Qin Yao still opened the door and let the person in. Where is this first? She added. Haihua Villa, my private villa. I made a marker in the courtyard that can be passed back directly in case of danger. So, do you want to learn? Hua Yunfei said, taking out a playing card from his pocket, a heart. The playing cards flipped back and forth between Hua Yunfei's fingers, looking very mischievous, but it made Qin Yao start to become impatient. You'd better tell me first who made you come to find me. It's pointless if you don't explain this clearly and avoid other things. Even if you lock me up here, it's useless. Qin Yao insisted, her tone very firm. You know, what I was planning to do was a deck of tarot cards. 22 cards, I don't think I have enough, and the names are not easy to remember. I have to think about the meaning of each card, unless I eat too much, I can't cause myself such trouble. Hua Yunfei continued to flip the heart A card from left to right, very inexperienced, and soon the card was played to the ground by him. He bent down with a hint of embarrassment to pick up the cards. At this moment, Qin Yao jumped high and quickly, like a frightened rabbit finding its escape hole and leaping over with a swoosh. She was tall and had longer legs. After shrinking her body, it seemed like only legs were left, and she seized the opportunity well. The most crucial thing is that she has been practicing this move of leaping over the dragon gate since childhood and has never lost her leg. Both father and servant were easily leaped by her. This time, she saw that she was on the verge of success, with a gentle grin on her lips, followed by a strong hand grabbing her ankle, gently moving around. She felt like she was flying higher and catapulted towards the pitch-black night outside. Having played with slingshots since childhood, she truly understood that from the beginning until now, the clown was actually herself. There's no hiding or sneaking attacks, that guy is just bored. He probably pretended to respect me before. Let me down. Qin Yao, who had already flown far away, was actually afraid of high altitude without the support of a flying machine. 15 minutes later, Qin Yao, who had dried her hair, held a cup of coffee in her hand, with hot air rising in a fragrant aroma. This coffee won't be toxic, will it? Qin Yao blinked her eyes and thought for a moment, it shouldn't be possible. The other person doesn't seem to be someone who likes girls. Lu, Blue Mountain, that's great. You guys really enjoy it. After Hua Yunfei retrieved Qin Yao from the sea, he asked her to take a shower and change clothes again, and even blew her hair. However, this little girl managed to handle it in just 15 minutes, so fast that it was unbelievable. Drinking coffee is like drinking cow's milk, and there is no gentlemanly demeanor. Cross-legged, even more standard than him. Alright, since you're asking sincerely, I won't beat around the bush anymore. Hua Yunfei crossed his fingers and pressed against his chin, rising in the wind and floating in the air. It seems like Bike Fei. Do you want to cultivate immortality? End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Charming Night. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Charming Night, do you want to cultivate immortality? Ha ha ha. Qin Yao rolled back on the sofa, rolling back and forth, causing Hua Yunfei's eyebrows to tremble. Cultivating immortality is a sacred thing, and countless people are squeezing their heads to embark on the path of cultivating immortality. Shun is mortal, reverse is immortal, only in a moment of thought in the heart. But this woman actually treats cultivation as a joke, not only in her heart not believing, but also on her face. Isn't there a God in this world? Why do you seem to not believe it at all? Hua Yunfei was puzzled. The dean of Yinjia College, Yi Bufan, is a newly introduced deity. Isn't this a recognized fact that he is a real person in front of those students? Don't you even believe your dean? I believe, of course I do. But I believe, what does it have to do with whether I want to or not? Qin Yao stopped laughing and looked straight at Hua Yunfei. She extended her arm, a piece of it resembling a crisp lotus root just dug out of the field, fair and smooth. I cannot perceive the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. How can I cultivate immortality? Do I drink medicine? She picked up her coffee again and took a big sip. When I was very young, my family asked a master to help me check it out. They said it was because my innate spiritual pulse was cut off, and it was impossible to cultivate immortality. I just went to learn flying skills, hoping to one day soar in the sky. As she spoke, her voice slowed down a bit and her expression no longer relaxed as before. So, you really love flying? Hua Yunfei was a bit puzzled. In his view, flying is just a subsidiary effect of cultivating immortality, not the true essence of cultivation, nor can it reflect his understanding of the world. Because after all, even a sparrow can fly. Yes, I really enjoy flying freely. I think that's the real me. Sometimes I even suspect that I'm not my parents' child. Why? Because they are all afraid of heights and dare not even fly, they only believe in high-speed trains. How did you persuade them to agree to let you learn flying skills? Force with death. Hua Yunfei was speechless and instantly felt that he was not doing well. He suspected that he had connected the wrong person. Are you really Qin Yao, the only child of Qin Zhanghe in the Qin Pharmaceutical Group? Are you investigating me? What else do you have to suspect? Qin Yao didn't care and was not afraid to reveal her identity. She believed that her father must be on a wanted list, searching for herself throughout the entire empire at this moment. As she had expected, in the capital of the Star Empire, Vatican, a huge estate covering an area of 100 acres, a man was furious and sent out batches of black-clad men, riding the fastest aircraft, to kill the Silver Armor Academy. Yi Bufan, within 3 hours, I want my daughter to come back alive. Don't say no. Without waiting for an answer or a statement from the other party, the man slammed his phone fiercely towards the ground. The top granite floor remained motionless, and after spinning a few times, the phone obediently landed on the sofa without moving. They are all fools. Even if we send someone, all the god-level masters will be sent out. Dig the ground 3 feet and even dig out that bold and reckless person for me. To the east of the Star Empire lies the vast East China Sea, a vast expanse of blue, hidden within a solitary island without any distinctive features. There is only one 3-story villa on the island, covering only half an acre. Strangely, there is no servant, but it can keep the place clean and as new as ever. Qin Yao continued drinking coffee, wanting to hear what kind of ivory this seemingly unworthy person could spit out. Whether you want it or not, you and I have to endure the injustice of staying here for a while and experiencing the beauty of the sea. Hua Yunfei clapped his hands and walked out. Don't think about running away, no one can take you away except me. The sky is already dark, and the phone shows the time as 8 p.m. Her stomach has been screaming for a long time. Just now, Qin Yao has been holding back, and exposing her hunger in front of the enemy will give them an opportunity to take advantage, which is dangerous. I don't know where Au went. Will she encounter any danger? She's so dark, there must be a way, I need to find her. Thinking of this, Qin Yao pushed the door straight out, turned left and walked straight, and indeed saw a large courtyard. A small round table, with 4 simple chairs arranged in a disorderly manner around the table. There is a tray on the table, which contains some fresh fruits. It has been washed clean, but it still exudes a cold air. Luxury, in such a haunted place, there are even chilled durians. Is the guy in charge of freezing stinking now? Qin Yao, who was starving, couldn't take care of so much. After eating a few, she began to silently daydream. After staying for about a few minutes, the cold wind brushed over her face, making her understand that it must be the annoying wind at night causing trouble. When she opened her eyes, she saw a big pancake face full of sadness. It was clearly in front of her, but her owner covered her mouth, leaving only dewdrops of tears streaming down her face. Yao, you finally woke up. I thank you. I really want to thank you. It's Yen Ryu. At this moment, her attire is a bit strange. She's actually wearing a red long skirt with a Hanfu style, ancient costume, not to mention quite good looking. Did he change your clothes for you? Qin Yao asked. Sometimes, girls may not stay in touch forever due to certain reasons. But more often than not, she becomes a close friend who talks about everything. And at this moment, their relationship is still in the repair phase, everything is unknown, perhaps starting from this red dress, either repairing or cutting off. I have worshipped him as my teacher. He is now my master. After Yen Ryu finished speaking, a shyness appeared on her face. Qin Yao was almost stunned because the shyness of that little girl was so sweet and silly. He just asked me if I wanted to cultivate immortality. Why did you agree? You have to wait for the price and endure him a little longer. You will definitely get better conditions in the future. In the past, Yan Ryu would definitely highly agree with Qin Yao's words. It's okay, I think it's pretty good. Whether it's true or false, it's an opportunity. Yan Ryu was slowly lifted up by Qin Yao, and the two hugged each other, calming the heart-wrenching day. Yao, you said we were dreaming today. Why do I feel like everything is so unreal? Perhaps, I also think it's quite surreal. We actually came to the place where God lives. We just can't even see a person. Do you think he looks even more terrifying than a ghost when he removes his makeup at night? Pushi Yan Ryu couldn't help but laugh. Generally, she is very good at suppressing laughter, which is why many people have misunderstood her as an iceberg academic bully. I was still amused by Qin Yao this time. Why, I think he's very handsome, he really exudes a fairy-like aura. At this moment, apart from heaven and earth, there are only the two of them, and that person doesn't know where they have gone. It seems that they are really at ease with this place and don't worry about them escaping. Or it could be deliberately giving them the opportunity to spend time alone. Let's reconcile, okay? Qin Yao suddenly became serious. I need you. Then, her face leaned towards Yan Ryu, with a hint of hope and unease. What is the situation? End of this chapter.